Hello and welcome to the first NoCoCo tutorial for Adalo, arguably the most popular no-code platform for mobile apps at the moment. Fun fact, Adalo is named after Ada Lovelace, a female mathematician who lived in England in the first half of the 19th century and is still considered to be the world's first programmer by many, because she established the principles of programming languages in her writings many years before there were any actual computers around. So there's that. If you don't have an account with Adalo yet, do sign up with an email address, password and full name. I have already done so and am signed in. And when you sign in and you don't have an app already, Adalo will first ask you, do you want to make a native mobile app or a desktop web app? We're going to concentrate on native mobile apps, as there are better tools for desktop web apps in my opinion, such as Bubble.io. So we're going to choose native mobile app. Next, Adalo then offers us several templates. They are worth a look because you can learn a lot about what's going on under the hood, so to speak. We're going to choose a blank app, however. Name it demo. Adalo wants us to choose a primary and secondary color for the app, which will then be used by default in various sections. You don't have to worry too much about the name and the colors, as you can change them at any time within the settings. So even starting with a blank app, Adalo is kind enough to provide us with a sign up, login and home screen with all the right connections between them, so they work just fine. You don't have to use them, you can just delete them and build your own, but they are perfectly fine for our purposes. I will now give you a quick overview over the most important tools in Adalo, and I will look into each of them in greater detail in the following tutorials. So first up, we have that big plus button in the upper left corner, which allows us to add components or add screens to our app. The structure here is always as follows. On the top, we have a search bar, and we can look for components or screens very quickly if we know their name. This is followed by the most used components, then all of the components in drop-down menus sorted into categories, and last but not least the marketplace, which allows us to download and install some more components in the form of plugins, if you want to call it that. Most of them are made by Adalo, some of them are made by independent developers, so you can install them as well. Under branding, you can change the primary and secondary color that we just set up. You can choose a default background color and default text color, and can choose the fonts that your app should use. Screens offers an overview of over all the screens that you have in your app, and as you can see, if I move over home, login, sign up, the corresponding screens on the right get a nice yellow frame around them. And here's the database. That's a very important section, probably the most important section in all of Adalo. Adalo does have its own internal database, which is a big plus in my book, that you don't have to link to an external database via API. By default, there's only one database or collection, as Adalo calls it, called users, with the properties email, password, username and full name. These four you can not delete, as the little padlock in the upper right corner indicates, but you can rename them, which I like a lot because I have my problems with the property full name. If I do collect data and want to use it in any sensible manner, I don't want users to just put in first name, last name in any order they please. I want to have a first name and last name field, so I always rename that to first name and add a second property. Here's all the properties you can have in Adalo: text, numbers, a Boolean true false variable, date and time, just date, image, file, and relationships. Very important. Here you can define relationships between different collections in the database. Not at the moment, as we only have the one, but we're gonna look a lot at relationships because they play a big role in Adalo and how you link collections to each other. For now though, I'm gonna add a property called text, and I will call it last name, save it, and I'm happy. Under settings, we can rename the app, add a short description, upload an icon for the app, and under app access, we can create a link to a clonable version of the app that other people can then use to work from our app, look for bugs, or just test it. And under copy delete, we can make backup copies of the app, which is good advice, especially in the beginning if you don't know exactly what you're doing, and you can delete the app if all hope is lost. Under publish, you can then, once the app is finished, publish it for Android or iOS, but only if you have the paid plan. If you are on the free plan and just testing Adalo out, you can only create a link to the progressive web app, which you can then share with others for testing purposes. Analytics, I think we can safely ignore for now. So, and that's it already for our quick overview. In the next tutorial, we're gonna have a closer look at screens, screen design, arrangement of screens, and the linking between them. See you then.